All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, with the month of October in full swing, there are still 14 undefeated teams in the top 25 of the latest college football poll, but two of those teams happen to call the City of Angels home. And I'm talking about for the first time since 2005, both USC and UCLA have won their first six games of the college football season. Both USC and UCLA, they've been down in their luck for far too long on the gridiron, but they have come back strong with a vengeance so far here in 2021. Pardon me, 2022, please forgive me. In the latest AP poll, you got the Bruins, who are currently ranked 11th, while the men of Troy are 7th. And for my money, college football is in a much better place when there's relevance in the city of Los Angeles when it comes to college football. It's a shame, unfortunately, that this tale is going to transfer, if you will, to the Big Ten Conference in a couple of years when both USC and UCLA leave the Pac 12 because they've meant so much to that conference for a very long time. But nonetheless, it's still important right here to focus on 2022 and see the return of these two programs. Now, Chip Kelly has had several years under his belt at UCLA, and things are really starting to come together for him this year. I mean, you look at this offense led by Dorian Thompson Robinson, and the Bruins are picking up steam as the weeks progress. Now you have Lincoln Riley in his first year as the head coach at USC. And, he brought some excitement with him when he decided to leave Oklahoma and head west. And this is a territory that USC is expecting to be in, and this is where they want to consistently be. You think about what happened with Pete Carroll when he was a head coach at SC. The men of Troy were consistently in the top 10. They were once again a national brand, and they've fallen away from that. And, the folks that follow this program want to get back to that. And I think both USC and UCLA are well on their way to getting back to that status. Now, both teams, I talked about it. They got big time playmakers at quarterback. You got DTR at UCLA, and then of course Caleb Williams, the Oklahoma transfer at quarterback for USC. And obviously, in today's college game, that's what you need. You need that stud at the quarterback position if you're going to go out there and contend for championships. So you look at what these teams are doing. To me, I think there's a little bit more excitement around USC, in my opinion, than there is UCLA. UCLA is still struggling with their attendance at the Rose Bowl, but nonetheless, there's definitely a buzz around USC at the Coliseum. And the showdown next month is looming large for both of these teams because it more than likely is going to have ramifications as far as getting to the Pac 12 championship game, but also possibly on the national championship front in regards to getting to the college football playoff. We got to wait and see. But before we get to that point, both of these teams have very big test this coming Saturday. You have a UCLA team that has a travel to take on Oregon, and Oregon is playing some very good football after they got blown out by Georgia to begin the season in Atlanta. USC has to travel to Salt Lake City to take on Utah. And ever since the Utes and Kyle Whittingham joined the Pac 12, they have been a thorn in the side of the men of Troy. So this is a game, obviously, that USC cannot take lightly, especially when you're talking about this Utah team as the defending Pac 12 champions. I know that they just lost on Saturday at the Rose Bowl to UCLA, but nonetheless, this team is still definitely formidable. Now, with that said, is there a situation where USC or UCLA have what it takes to get to the national championship or win the national championship and potentially get to the college football playoff? I think the possibility is there for both of these teams. But again, this weekend is going to be very telling for both of these clubs because for UCLA, outside of a blowout win on the road against Colorado, the Bruins have not been on the road. This is just their second road game of the year. So they really haven't been tested on the road. I guarantee you they're going to get tested this Saturday by Oregon. And for USC, they got to go to Utah Saturday. Like I said, you cannot overlook that. They still have to travel to the Rose Bowl to take on UCLA. And yeah, it's a crosstown rivalry. And the way that things are going right now, for USC, that could potentially just be a de facto home game because we've seen in years past where UCLA doesn't draw well at the Rose Bowl, and when it comes to that crosstown game between USC and UCLA, there's plenty of Trojans fans, obviously in the LA area, but nonetheless, they have no problem making the trek to the Rose Bowl. Of course, they do it every January when USC, gets to the Rose Bowl game, but nonetheless, they will definitely be out in support. But with that said, I think there's a possibility this year for the Pac-12 championship winner to get some recognition in regards to getting to the Field of Four for the college football playoff. Granted, you got some teams in the Big Ten, such as Michigan and Ohio State, that are looking good. You always have to worry about the juggernaut that's the SEC. What's going to happen in the ACC with Clemson, and then of course, the Big 12 with the likes of Oklahoma State. But I think that the Pac 12 will be in that mix. And I'll tell you like this, if USC wins the Pac 12, I guarantee you they're going to have a big opportunity to get in because, of course, the LA market, the USC brand, and you want that on the big stage. But nonetheless, I think we're seeing the rebirth of college football in Southern California. It's great for the sport. It's also great for recruiting because you've always had some talented kids coming out of the state of California. Of course, USC has really benefited from that over the years, as has UCLA. But, I can't harp enough on the quarterback position because you think about these two programs and they put some first rounders from their respective programs into the NFL. You think about the likes of Troy Aikman and Cade McNown being first round picks coming out of UCLA at the quarterback position. And you look at USC, Todd Marinovich, Rodney Peete. You also had Carson Palmer. You also had Mark Sanchez, Matt Leinart, Sam Darnold. These are just some of the guys that were first rounders at the quarterback position at both of these schools, as playing quarterback at both of those schools was a marquee position. And now we're getting back to that. But nonetheless, I think this is a great moment for both schools, a great moment for the Pac 12 conference. Obviously, in the short term, it's unfortunate again that both of these teams are leaving, but also just for college football as a whole. Just to show that it's not just an East Coast and Midwest thing. You got these West Coast teams in the marquee market doing their thing. Both USC and UCLA have started out good. Let's just see if they can keep it up with the harder part of their schedules coming up here for the rest of this month and November. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.